Welcome to Spoop Squad, the podcast that watches horror films that go flop in the night. I am Jared.
And I am Nathan.
And we watched the movie I Am Lisa.
I am Lisa.
And I Am Lisa is from 2020. We watched this movie on Amazon Prime, as we watch majority of our movies. And on IMDb, this is rated a 4.1 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
So there is... I did see one review, just like getting this started. I did see one review on IMDb.
Okay.
Just in passing, like looking for all the information on this movie. And the title of the review was just bad. It was pretty good.
That's a great review. That's super funny.
All right, so I did try to find a budget for this movie, but all I found was micro budget. So what that means, I have no idea.
It's a micro budget.
Micro budget is just, it's like a micro machine,
Oh.
but without wheels.
It's kind of man with a mustache that talks really fast.
Yeah. I did find out that the gross on this movie was a whopping $7,000.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
That
It's pretty good.
sounds about right. Sounds about right.
Like I know it says micro budget and that's all we get, but 7,000 can't cover that, right?
Okay.
Like there's no way they made this movie with $7,000.
It was filmed on a Red camera.
It was filmed on a Red.
So
But
I
that
don't know
doesn't
how
necessarily mean anything.
I don't know what that would mean, like renting wise. I'm assuming they rented it and didn't buy it.
I mean, if they could have bought like a Red 1, which is fairly inexpensive at this point in time. This movie, again, was 2020, so, I mean, still, Red
probably
ones,
filmed in 2019, 2018.
Yeah, probably something like that.
2010.
Still in that time range, the Red ones are still older cameras, older technology. I mean, they have like 8Ks now, so...
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's something
What are you
that...
going to do with 8Ks?
You'd be surprised. You're a fucking idiot. Okay, let's go ahead and get into the synopsis.
All right, so Nick's not here, so I'm going to do the synopsis. Nick is off being his own
Wait,
Valentine. Yeah. Nick is being his own Valentine. He is loving himself,
Yes.
as the movie would say. So here we go. Plot: I Am Lisa. A sadistic small-town sheriff and her underlings brutalize Lisa and leave her for dead in the woods. Bitten by a werewolf and bestowed with supernatural abilities, can Lisa retain her humanity as she exacts revenge? That's the synopsis.
Okay.
I've never had a synopsis end with a question.
End with a question? Yeah. No, I mean, okay. As far as synopsis goes, not a great synopsis.
No.
I mean, it gets to the point. We know what the movie's about, but I think it could have been done a little better. That's just me. All right, one good thing. Nathan, what's your one good thing? Because mine is amazing.
Oh, no, you're not ready for this. My one good thing is that this was a very creative reimagining of She's All That.
Okay. All right,
think about it. Think about it.
Yeah, no, I
the
see.
The sheriff takes off her glasses, and then she becomes a werewolf. She's a pretty werewolf.
She's not the nerdy girl anymore.
Yeah. She stops wearing.
Yeah, she's a badass.
Yeah, she stops wearing that hat that she wears for the first 30 minutes of the movie. The hat that does not fit her.
Like the extremely tall beanie.
Yes, extremely tall beanie. And then, but she wasn't wearing it when her glasses were removed. But once her glasses were taken away from her, she became a new person. It was like a whole new world opened up to her. Everyone saw her differently.
Well, everybody but her best friend.
Well, yeah, but her best friend knew who she was before then. Because she knew she was a bitch.
She knew she was a bitch. She knew she was a murderer.
She was a murderer before.
Yeah.
She murdered them books. What do you think happened to Lisa's grandma?
She inherited that bookstore. Why do you think she killed her?
Yeah. All right. So that's
allegedly.
yeah. So that's my one good thing.
My one good thing.
Yes, I was about to ask you.
Is most definitely that we get a scene where Samantha, the best friend, is in the back of a patrol car with the nutty sheriff, and she is ball gagged out of nowhere,
like a pink
ball gag that just came out of nowhere. We don't know if it was Samantha's. We don't know if it was the sheriff's. We don't know if it was Lisa's.
I want to say that it's the sheriff's. She strikes me as somebody who would have a ball gag just on hand.
But you're forgetting one key element to this.
Okay.
Samantha could still speak through the ball gag, so she definitely knows how to still say her safe word.
Yeah, pineapple.
Yeah, pineapple.
She definitely has experience with the ball gag. This would have been even better if they had put her in fuzzy handcuffs.
Yeah,
some sort of like restraining
we didn't see
harness.
The handcuffs, so could have been.
That's true. Could be.
We're just making assumptions at this point.
That's true. And when you know what they say about assumptions,
you
end up in a ball gag and fuzzy handcuffs in the back of a police car.
Screaming pineapple.
Screaming pineapple. So screaming, do me instead.
She does scream, do me instead.
Do me instead. What?
Speaking of doing people in, Nathan, let's go ahead and get to the kill breakdown.
All right, here is the I Am Lisa kill breakdown. Number 1, Wolf Girl gets shot, who we later find out is named Gretchen.
Yes.
Number 2 is Millie gets neck snapped and head turned backward.
Which was apparently looked like an accident.
Which leads to the question, if you get your neck snapped in space, does it push you backward?
Yeah, it does.
Number 3, I put, who ordered the fried Dana?
Explain.
Because Dana definitely gets her face shoved in like the fryer.
Yeah.
Which was very funny. I guess she drowned
very
in
much
it.
like Jason.
Jason X.
Yeah, Jason X. That one.
Okay.
Almost very similar to Jason, but like the elements are a little bit different. Instead of being extremely cold, it's extremely hot.
Yes. All right. Number 4 is Death of Knowledge, which is when Nick burns down the bookstore. and what's her name? Lisa is standing there so upset by this. It's just very funny. Number 5 is Nick gets neck bitten open and he bleeds out, to which later Lisa says that she ate Nick.
Yeah, she didn't eat him.
She ate a piece of him.
She didn't even eat a piece of him. She just like bit him.
No, she tore a chunk out of his neck.
Yeah, but it was still there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's hard to,
She just opened the flesh.
You saw the fire CGI.
Yeah.
It would be hard to CGI a big chunk of his neck missing.
It would.
Number 6 is Chester is just sort of dead.
Yeah, what happened to him?
No explanation.
Was it like a overdose or something?
Maybe Chester's just sort of dead. And we just met Chester. Like, we're not attached to him in any way.
In no way whatsoever.
All he's done so far is sit outside of a brothel and laugh.
Yeah.
Let's see. Number 7, I Am Jessica _bitch gets throat fingernail slashed.
Okay, explain that, because
okay,
that's very good. Like, we looked at this specifically to find out if it was real.
Yeah, so at one point, Lisa opens up Instagram to find out where Jessica is, and Jessica's Instagram name is I Am Jessica _bitch. And I looked it up. I'm just going to go ahead and go to it because this is too funny to not just go into. So it does say Jessica Hutchins. It does exist. Jessica Hutchins. This is straight out of Northbrook, Missouri. Y'all don't know. Wait, sorry. Y'all don't like what I gotta say. You can eat my fuck, bitches.
And it's got one photo.
It's got one photo, one post, which is from the movie that they used. And it says, don't act like you don't want me, you fucking bitch. There's
talking to Lisa.
Sorry, there's 20 comments.
Are there?
Yep.
Okay, well, we don't need to go through the comments. Go look at the comments yourself, and we
Yes.
will look at them after this episode is over, for sure.
Yeah, that's an excuse for you to talk to us on the internets.
Yeah.
Because that's very funny. And then number 8 is Dolphus gets nailed. He gets a silver nail shoved up his nose, I guess, into his brain. Kind of a lobotomy in a way.
Yeah, to some degree, but not quite. I really thought that she was going to stick it in his penis.
Because it was very sexual up until this moment.
It was very BDSM.
Yeah. Because when the sheriff, we'll get to that. It was very BDSM. Number 9 is sheriff gets eaten by wolves, which is the most anticlimactic way of me saying this. She gets shot by her sister, knocked out by a foot to the face from Lisa, and then she gets eaten by wolves, which is supposed to be like poetic justice, I guess. That's it.
But it's not even really justice.
It's not really.
Like, for all the shit that the sheriff put Lisa through, and not only Lisa, but her best friend Samantha, like, in, I guess, the whole town, really. Like, she got off very good.
Like, terrorized everybody.
Yeah.
Well, and it's funny because when Lisa kills Dana, she says that she killed Millie fast because she wasn't really involved in anything.
Yeah.
But that she was going to kill Dana slow. She's like, I'm going to take my time with this. But then, like, it still was a fast death. Like, every death was really fast.
I mean, okay, look.
There was no,
it was
torture.
A quick death, but it was excruciatingly painful.
It's super painful. I mean, I don't want to.
Like, it would have felt like an eternity.
Fryer grease.
Yeah. I will say this, though. That fryer really works. Because
it does really work.
She had just lit the thing, and she had just turned it on.
It was funny that after that death, Lisa goes into the house, and Sam turns around and goes, "Did you get fries? Did you bring me some?" Like, I assume that Sam was supposed to be high because they made her a super pothead.
Oh yeah.
But like
she had like a brick of
but she never acted like a pothead.
No,
it wasn't like stereotypical pothead. It was just like, this is a person that smokes weed and smells.
Which, hey, you know what? Good on you, movie.
Yeah,
not everybody's a fucking stoner.
Yeah,
like a
burnout. Yeah. Like it was a good way to portray it because she was also like
Jim
a
Brewer
medical
from
professional.
Half-Baked.
Yeah, Jim Brewer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it like she's a what's it called? She's like a nurse or something, some sort of medical professional.
Yeah.
And she's got her shit together. She just likes to chief it a little.
Yeah.
But I mean, that is a lot of fucking weed.
It is. And for her, for only her.
But they only have her be that, like, to be a pothead and make it like a part of the movie in a very minor way up until it becomes a plot point.
Yeah.
And then it just doesn't exist anymore.
No.
It's like...
I mean, it was only used because the sheriff and Nick...
Yes.
The deputy... The Sun deputy...
Sun Beauty...
That's... Okay, yeah, we'll go with that. Why not?
It didn't work.
It didn't, but you know what? I was going to just fucking let it slide.
But you didn't.
I mean, fair. All right, so the sheriff and Nick are in the house, and they're looking for Lisa, and obviously she's not there. But they have this one thing on Samantha, which is the pot, and they're like, "Did you get this from Jesse?" And she's like, "No, her competition." And Jesse's obviously the daughter of the sheriff, so
yeah.
It's, this big fuck you. I didn't use
who
your
like
sources.
Sells drugs and spits on chicks.
Yeah, and then kisses them.
Kisses them and then spits on them.
I mean, it's all BDSM stuff, dude.
Yeah. Also, in case you guys haven't caught on, we have definitely moved into ridiculous moments.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Yeah. This is a lot of fun, ridiculous moments in this film.
Okay, there is one ridiculous moment that I want to bring up. One is we do get Vincent Price in this movie.
Yes, in The Last Man on Earth.
Yeah, which is very unexpected and very cool. in all honesty.
He actually got quite a bit of screen time.
Yeah, he did. But this kind of brings up the ridiculous moment because she definitely starts watching like Universal, like old monster movies,
specifically werewolf movies,
to figure out what the fuck is going on with her.
When she has a book,
she has the book that tells her everything.
It tells her,
and we know that she loves books.
And we know that the book tells her everything because she puts the book down and then she turns to Sam and she goes, "Come sit here," and she tells her what she had for lunch. Or the last thing she ate, and then she tells her she's ovulating.
Yeah. Like she sniffs the air like a dog would. And yeah.
Yeah, because, it's like with bears. Bears know when women are menstruating. They can smell it.
Mm-hmm.
So werewolves can obviously smell when a woman is ovulating.
Yeah. I mean, it's canon.
Yeah, which is like...
We know this about werewolves now.
Well, but this also begs the question of how come more werewolves aren't OBs?
That's a very legitimate question.
Mm-hmm. Or like fertility doctors.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I see where you're going with that.
Yeah. Well, no, that's all I had.
No,
was just
like
the question. It's you know what?
It's very thoughtful of you, Nathan. Which is surprising. It's a ridiculous moment in its own right.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Okay, can we talk about this fucking bookstore fire real fast?
Yes, please.
Because it is funny. Like, just the moment when Jesse and Nick walk up, who are brother and sister, and also the children of the sheriff, just in case anybody missed us talking about that for 30 minutes beforehand. So they walk up to the bookstore to Lisa's grandmother's bookstore, I guess, or maybe it's Lisa's bookstore. It's Lisa's bookstore now. Yeah, fuck her grandma, and she's dead anyway. So they walk up to it, and she lights a Molotov cocktail, and then just stands there staring at the bookstore because they've introduced earlier that Jessica is in love with Lisa.
Yes,
like she has something for her, which I guess. Maybe that's why she was always like shitty to her or whatever in like an elementary school playground kind of way.
Yeah.
But she just stands there and is like weird for a second. So Nick just grabs it and throws it through the window. And then I guess they just disappear. But then you see Lisa hops in her car and drives over because she walks out of the house and can smell the fire, and immediately, boom, she knows that it's the bookstore.
Yeah, she obviously knew it was the bookstore.
Yeah.
Which is miles probably away.
Well, yeah. So this is also a payoff from earlier when Jessica threatens to burn a copy of Fahrenheit 451.
Yeah.
But now now this bookstore is on fire, and it is a 2D like CGI of fire. Like they would have done better if they had just gotten someone to like draw it on the film with like a crayon.
That would have been very funny.
It would have been much funnier, but this was terrible.
I will say that I have seen worse. It doesn't mean that it was great, but I have seen worse.
I've seen better fire and explosions in a made-for-TV movie on the Sci-Fi Channel.
Oh, I'm sure, because that shit's dope.
I've seen better special effects in Atlantic Rim.
Okay, fair.
Like, I mean, I get that they don't actually want to set the building on fire, and they're like, hey, we're going to Robert Rodriguez this. But not. They Bobbert Bobbiguez did. Is what they did.
Bobbert
Bobbiguez. This was the worst. This is it's supposed to look like it's 3D, but it's only moving in a very specific way, but you can tell that it's flat on top of like the film.
It's not as three-dimensional as you might imagine it would be.
Yeah, it was about as three-dimensional as oil floating on the top of a puddle.
I do have something to say about this Molotov cocktail fire.
Mm-hmm.
They do it in the middle of the day where anybody can see them.
Yes.
And my whole thought was, couldn't they just wait until like the next protest that happens?
Oh, God.
Like, I mean, just give it some time because there's something coming. I can almost guarantee it.
I feel like we got very political very fast, which is not a thing we do.
It's not. But I didn't say who's going to start it, but I feel like there's something coming.
I can tell you who's not going to do it. It's not going to be Billy Joel. Okay. You're welcome for that.
Okay. We're talking about the bookstore.
Yes.
And at the beginning, there are a couple things that I saw in the bookstore that threw me off. One, there was like almost a foreshadowing that you have at the cashier's little stand where it says warning pitbull.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I felt it was some kind of like
Mr.
foreshadowing. Yeah, it's Mr. Worldwide. But besides that sign, there was definitely a box of Huggies there for no apparent reason.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what they were there for.
Those boxes are tough as hell, and they're good for moving books.
Yeah, but don't you think that if you had them in, like, if you had books in a Huggies box, wouldn't you take them out and move the Huggies box out of the middle of the bookstore where everybody can see it?
Okay, well, here's your answer.
No.
Here's your answer why that box is still there. It's because that place is a fucking mess.
Oh, God, yes.
It is a absolute dumpster fire. That I did not mean
now,
for that
yeah.
to be funny. But it's absolutely just an absolute mess. Books just shoved in anywhere, which is also funny that she specifically takes the copy of A Clockwork Orange and has a very specific place for it.
Yeah.
And it's not the only time you see her like putting a book somewhere specific, but then everywhere else it's like books are sideways and just smashed into places.
They really are.
It's just she did not have her shit together.
It's a clusterfuck of a bookstore.
So that is why I'm not surprised by the Huggies box.
Okay, that's fair.
She's a slob.
Or maybe it was her grandmother. Maybe her grandmother was just so like out of it.
Her whore of a grandmother.
Jesus.
Okay.
Okay.
Because the sheriff told her at one point that her grandmother slept her way across the town.
She did, didn't she?
She said that she basically fucked everybody in town, which was super funny. It was just an insult out of nowhere that doesn't change anything about the dead grandmother. It doesn't make you don't see her in a different light because you
don't know her.
She's
we've never met
her.
Yeah.
It's a character thing that means nothing.
It seemed like there was a lot of that in this movie.
Uh-huh.
Where it was just like dialogue for dialogue's sake.
Or a non-dialogue in Dolphus's case.
That's true.
Because that is a person that didn't need to be in the movie.
Was his name Dolphus or Adolphus?
It's Dolphus. Because remember, she kept calling him D.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
Yeah, she's like calling him D. Got scratch on his face. This guy has no purpose in the movie other than to, like, his whole lead up to like him actually doing something is he sharpened the silver axe.
Yes.
He
hung out in the woods.
He hung out in the woods, which did nothing. That did nothing. Sharpening the silver axe at least was something, even though you could tell it was dull as fuck. And then he, and also you could tell it wasn't silver. It's definitely a steel axe.
Yeah.
And also he helped hold Lisa to the wall so they could put
crucify her?
They crucified her onto the wall, but didn't do her feet.
Didn't do her feet. I don't know.
Didn't do her
Super
feet.
weird. So when Adolphus is hanging out in the woods at night.
Just Dolphus.
Yeah. Just Dolphus. When D is hanging out in the woods.
When that big D is hanging out in the woods.
And this is like the scene where Lisa gets bitten.
Yes.
Right. So he's hanging out like kind of in the background in the woods at night. And then all of a sudden somebody comes up behind him and hits him over the head with a log or whatever. And
right.
It's Mary, which we get like this short interaction at the beginning of the movie with her buying a book at the bookstore that Lisa owns, I guess.
I think it's Mary Stoddard.
I don't know. I don't care either.
Yeah, it's
but,
not important.
So she hits him on the head with this big ass fucking stick, right?
Yeah.
Very soon after, once Lisa wakes up in Mary's house, we get Dee walking in the woods in the middle of the day with a bag of frozen corn on his head. Like, where the fuck did that come from?
I mean, he probably just had it laying around from when he had his vasectomy.
I don't think he had a vasectomy.
That is a piece of character development that I gave to him that actually developed his character more than this entire movie did.
Yes.
This guy had like 5 or 6 scenes, no character development.
No character development. I mean, no dialogue.
No dialogue, no character development. You don't really know anything about him other than like he lives in the woods, he sharpens axes.
And he works for the sheriff.
He works for the sheriff.
And that's all we got.
And he got scratch on the face at the beginning by a werewolf girl.
Yes.
Gretchen,
cousin,
the werewolf girl.
Cousin of Lisa.
Which is not a thing that means anything.
It does in a small way because the sheriff says something about it being in her bloodline or something like that.
Which is one of those things that was thrown in too late and too quickly for it to mean something. Like, it's like they were trying to allude to that the sheriff was somehow in some sort of a cult thing where they hunt wolves.
Yeah.
Which is why
almost like a
the
Bill
silver
Van
brand
Helsing
that has
or
a pentagram. Yeah. It's like they kind of like lean into this for like a
little
flash, a flash of the movie.
Like, we do get the pentagram in multiple shots.
Yes.
Beforehand, but
I
it's
think
never
it's
really
like twice
mentioned
beforehand. Yeah. And then she's like, grab the brand. And that's when you go, oh, it's a brand.
Yeah. I mean, you have to brand. Everything is a brand.
It's all about branding.
Yeah.
Today, these days, it's all about branding.
Mm-hmm.
You have
social media branding,
werewolf branding. It's whatever you can do to get your name out there.
Fucking werewolf branding.
Werewolf branding. You have to get your name out there so that you can, push more.
So people know you. They know you're an influencer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is what the sheriff wanted the whole time. She wanted power and influence.
Oh, yeah. Also, okay, this movie turned into like a weird precursor to like Boxing Helena.
Okay.
Because when she's got her nailed to the wall, when the sheriff has Lisa nailed to the wall, she says, we're going to use this silver axe to cut off your arms and legs and put you in a box, and Dolphus is just going to pull you out when he wants to play with you. That's Boxing Helena.
That's weird.
Which is funny because I've never actually watched the movie. I just know what it's about. It's one of those movies where I went, that's going to be too much for me to handle.
Yeah. Seems a little much. I haven't watched it.
Seems a little much. But if you cut off her arms and legs, then she can't scratch Dolphus in the face again like Gretchen.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's talk about Jessica for a minute. So Jessica has this thing for Lisa.
Wait. Are you talking about I am Jessica _bitch?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, the social media influencer.
Yes.
She, at one point, whenever she kisses Lisa, and then spits on her, and like wipes what I thought was originally spit.
I thought it was
off
her
her
own
face,
spit.
and then licks it, and then she goes, "Tears give me a hard on."
Yes.
And it's just super weird
because Lisa wasn't crying.
She wasn't.
So that had to have been spit.
Yeah.
But also, Jessica is super obsessed with Lisa in like a weird way.
Right.
Like Lisa goes to her apartment to like, I don't know why she goes there, but she goes there and then Jessica's asleep on her bed.
Jessica is asleep on her bed, has an empty bottle of Jack Daniels next to her. And then Jessica is just obsessed with Lisa.
And then right at the end, when Lisa, Jessica's end, when they're in the metal club, which I want to come back to. So she's in the bathroom there, and Lisa pushes her up against the wall,
and it becomes Twilight very quickly.
It becomes very Twilighty, and then Jessica looks at her and she just whispers, "Kiss me." Like, bitch, you beat the shit out of this girl.
No crap. And
you,
then
you
like,
beat the shit out of her.
Ripped 2 of her fingernails off.
Ripped
with pliers.
2 of her fingernails off. Threw her in the woods to where you hoped she would get eaten by wolves.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're suddenly happy that she's alive. And apparently, like, super turned on.
Theory.
Okay.
Since Nick isn't here. Theory.
Yeah, conspiracy theory.
Conspiracy
Let's go.
theory.
It's the government.
Yeah. What if Jessica knew that Lisa would turn into a werewolf, knowing her bloodline, in that this thing is supposed to happen to the people in her family, and she's just like really turned on by the idea of a werewolf?
Okay. Here's where I've got answers for you. I don't think that she knew about it because she didn't want her brother to like do stuff to her, to Lisa.
Yeah.
And I don't think that Jessica would have been okay with Lisa getting her arms and legs cut off and becoming Dolphus's plaything.
Well, that doesn't come into play until like the end of the movie when the sheriff is like testing things out.
Well, but
right?
They said that was their whole plan with Gretchen.
Yeah, maybe.
So,
but I don't know. Maybe there was some like idea, because we see after Lisa has been turned into a werewolf and Jessica goes with the Molotov cocktail, she hesitates.
yes.
Like maybe she's like, I don't know. Like
she's just I think that she's
trying,
like, this is the thing, she looked at that bookstore and she was like, everything reminds me of her.
Everywhere I look.
Everywhere I look, everything reminds me of her.
I don't know, man. I think that she had some kind of weird fetish with werewolves.
Maybe.
I think that
she did call everyone bitch.
She did. And I think that in the grand scheme of things, she really did read. But she read Twilight.
Yeah.
And anything that wasn't Twilight, anything that wasn't Twilight, she wasn't interested in.
Mm.
Maybe Harry Potter. Everybody likes to read Harry Potter.
Yeah. She was reading a lot of werewolf erotica.
Writing a whole lot of werewolf erotica.
She's probably
as
writing.
well.
Yeah, she's probably like, she's just, and by writing I mean she's just got like a composition book and she's sketching, doing it doggy style,
putting it up on DeviantArt.
Yeah. She's just she's into extreme form of being a furry.
Yeah, I can see that.
She's into furries, but she is not a furry.
Like, the funny thing is, everybody in this movie, it seemed like, has a familiar face. Like, you think you might know them, but
yes,
you don't know any of them.
Well, Cinnamon was in Winter's Bone.
Okay.
Which is an Academy Award-winning movie, or like somebody in it won something. I think Jennifer Lawrence won in it for something.
Maybe.
Supporting actress or lead actress or
Wouldn't
something.
be surprised.
Yeah, she won something. But yeah, that's the closest we get to famous.
Yeah.
Is someone who was like had a bit part in a very like
a successful movie.
Yeah, successful movie that I've never seen. Can we talk about this super slow burn of Lisa becoming a werewolf? Like just how slowly, I mean, it took forever just to even get to the point to where she got bit by a wolf. It might not even time-wise might not have been that long, but it felt like fucking forever. Like that was the majority of the movie for me.
Yeah.
Was that.
And then whenever she actually did get bitten, it just looks like some kid bit her.
Yeah, it looks like she got bit by a human, but we definitely saw an actual wolf bite her.
Yeah.
It was a special wolf.
It was a special wolf.
It was a special wolf.
How special, we don't know.
We don't know. It wasn't wearing a helmet.
It wasn't.
But but she got bit by what we were told is a special wolf. And I don't even know. I just wanted to lead up to that joke.
That's all that was.
That's all that
yeah.
was a lead up to that joke.
All right, going back to Mary for a minute. She definitely looks like a person that would just be way into wolves.
Oh yeah, wolves or like witchcraft or something.
Yeah, or
like,
all of the above.
Yeah, all of the above. I mean, she's sneaky in the woods. She snuck up on Big D, and then she was able to not be detected by Lisa because she stayed downwind. she's if she had a D&D class, she would be a druid.
Yes,
or a ranger, but most likely a druid.
Most likely druid.
Yeah,
I think druid would fit.
Yes.
One of the funniest things about Mary, though, it's whenever she's talking to Lisa in her house. And she's talking about how, like, Lisa has these powers now and she can get revenge and she had the power to, like, overcome everything that she had gone through. And now she has the power to get back and get justice from the people who did bad things to her.
Yes.
There's a fucking sign that says "Love is the greatest adventure" in the background. And it's poetic juxtaposition.
It is very funny.
It is the funniest thing in this whole movie, I think.
Like, I don't think that they knew that they were going to film that right there. Like the set designer just kind of like grabbed that from like, I don't know, a Hobby Lobby.
Yeah, Hobby Lobby.
And just like tossed it. I mean, it's not hung up on the wall. It's like propped up on
a dresser.
Table. Yeah, on like a dresser or something. Also, speaking of dressers, super funny that like there's this scene where Lisa takes a shower and then she just walks into a room and then you just have Sam sitting on a dresser.
Yeah, just casually sitting there.
Casually sitting on. She's like eating or smoking weed or something.
No, she wasn't smoking. She was doing something.
Yeah, she was. I think she was eating like a sandwich, but she was just like hanging out on a dresser. But that dresser did not say "Love is the greatest adventure." Mary knows love is the greatest adventure, and that
until
is how,
you need to fuck shit up.
Look, the greatest thing that you can do to get revenge on your enemies is to show them that love is the greatest adventure by turning into a werewolf and
kill him with
them.
kindness.
Yeah, kill him with kindness and werewolf nails and teeth.
Yeah,
and a restaurant fryer.
Restaurant fryers are good weapons. I do want to say this about Samantha, though.
Mm-hmm.
She just willingly hangs out with a murderer, like just a known murderer.
I mean, she is a pothead, so she's
like,
fine with crime.
Lets her... Weed is not a crime.
It's not.
She like sleeps in the same bed with her, like snuggles with her on the couch.
They like hold hands, and they put their heads together while they sleep.
It
is completely platonic. She loves her friend, even though she's changing and becoming something else.
A killer, cold-blooded killer.
Cold-blooded killer. It's a hot-blooded killer because it's revenge.
And they're people.
So it's murder.
So there is a car that Lisa is driving around, and they are in Missouri.
Yes.
And it says Royals.
With a Z.
ROL4. No, what was it? It's ROY4LZ.
Yes.
So it spells out Royals. I think they're a Kansas City Royals fan.
They did talk about, Jessica did mention that they were near Kansas City.
Yes.
But
like, because she talked about driving to Kansas City or something like that.
Yes.
But they are in Missouri.
They're in Missouri and close enough to Kansas City for them, I guess, to throw in some weird B-roll of nighttime highways there.
I guess.
That didn't have anything to do with this.
Nothing to do with this small
town.
Yeah. It's like super small town and no need to have a highway anywhere near it.
Oh, real fast, can we talk about how when Lisa experiences her first full moon after she got bit by the werewolf and they're trying to figure out if she's going to turn into a wolf or stay a human or be some sort of hybrid, and instead of doing any of those things, her eyebrows just turn into a ball sack. A flappy ball sack. This is like, it was like somebody watched too much Buffy and they're like, hey, let's make her look like the vampires from Buffy, but not at all.
Not at all.
but not at all. Let's give her a fucking empty ball sack on her forehead that just hangs down into her yellow eyes.
Her glowing amber eyes.
Yeah, and if you notice, one side of the ball sack was higher than the other, just like in real life.
In real life.
That's very real.
It's a very accurate portrayal of a ball sack.
Yeah. This whole scene was very sexual in many ways. Like when Lisa was becoming like the hybrid ball sack werewolf, she was like, she was given a, oh yeah. Like I was really expecting her to howl, but she's just like,
Yeah, it was very weird, like groaning and moaning and stuff going on when she was.
There's a lot of talk of sex. There's a lot of like ball gag in this scene. Yeah. There's
a mention of like there might be some kind of thing going on between Lisa and Samantha by Jessica, but
yes,
Lisa explains it out as, you know, we're best friends.
We're just friends. Yeah. Like not my thing.
Yeah.
But then like the sheriff, when she brands Lisa, she does it on her chest, but she's like, don't move too much. Wouldn't want to damage the girls.
Yeah. Which, I mean, come on.
Which is weirdly sexual. And they're talking about like Dolphus having a boxing Helena situation with her. There's so much going on that is uncomfortably sexual in this entire scene.
And they introduce ball gags.
They introduce ball gags and ball sack foreheads. And I really want to see the director's cut on this to where they are like, well, you know, the reason why we did this is because, after the Battle of Hastings in 1066, like I just want some sort of weird ass explanation as to why they were just like, most of the movie's pretty normal, and then this part is hypersexual, because typically like werewolf movies are it's symbolism for like puberty and, you know, becoming a different animal altogether. You know, it's puberty, like they grow hair and they grow bigger. And in this, it's like that doesn't happen. She just gets a ball sack on her forehead.
I mean, a weird puberty thing going on.
It's very confusing. And I don't think that any of this has anything to do with being a metaphor for puberty.
No, I don't think it does.
She had a ball sack on her forehead, Jared.
Unfortunate.
If you ask me, that's the greatest adventure.
That would be an adventure for sure. All right, let's talk about the bar scene in this small town. We have two bars that we know of.
Yes.
One is Fat Boys.
It was called Fat Boys.
It was called Fat Boys.
I just saw the FB and I kept calling it Facebook.
Yes. But this is where we get a scene where Lisa and Samantha are at the bar and we get the weird Coors Light label that moving between shots.
Yeah.
But the most realistic portion of this movie is whenever we go to the other bar.
Yes.
And we have a rock show going on.
The
and there's
Metal
like
Club. Yeah.
10 people at this local rock show.
And they're all there to see a band called Beelzefeast.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious because, I mean, it's like grindcore. Like, not even grindcore. It's just like, I guess you could probably put this in some sort of like black metal genre, but you wouldn't understand what the guy is saying except that they just put the lyrics at the bottom in the captions.
Yeah.
Which were hilarious.
It seemed like he was just kind of singing about what was going on at the bar at that moment.
Yeah. Like, he's just like
we're up here on the stage.
Yeah, we're on the stage and there's a family here with a child.
Like, legitimately, he's 10.
I think those are the Jesniks.
Yeah, probably so.
Whatever that family was.
Jessic, I think, is what it was. Or Jesnik. I don't know. It was at the end of the credits for the special thank yous. There were a lot of them.
It was Anthony Jeselnik and his entire family. There was one part of when the credits were going by where it is just one last name for 15 people.
Yeah.
It probably wasn't that much. I think it was like 5. But still, that would cover that whole family. But also, there was a child there, and they never explained that.
Never explained it.
But here's my favorite moment in that scene is when Jessica and her friend are going to the bathroom, and she just turns around and tosses like an 8-ball of coke at this guy.
Some random dude.
Yeah, it's like it's her friend that she went there with that she talks about later. Like, but she just straight up tosses this dude an 8-ball of coke and gives him like the buddy Jesus smile. Like this like this is the most acting she has done in this movie. It's the only time she actually like smiles, and it feels like it was a thing they did in the moment and we're laughing and fucking around, and the director was like, we're keeping it. This is super fun. Shows a different side to Jessica, adds more depth to Jessica, to where she's not just, I am Jessica _bitch from Instagram that everybody recognizes her from. But she can smile too and throw an 8-ball of she can throw an 8-ball of coke. I'm also assuming, and it's an 8-ball, it's like a gallon-sized Ziploc bag. I don't know how much that is, but it wasn't full. But this guy definitely pulled out his credit card, like dumped some of it onto just a tile surface in this dirty fucking bathroom. And
it was like a urinal mantle.
Yeah, and then he just proceeds to use a credit card to cut a line. Very funny.
Assumption of the movie.
Yes.
Not his credit card.
Another assumption.
Okay.
That wasn't a credit card.
What was it?
It's a Blockbuster card.
Okay.
He just held on to it.
He found it in the trash.
Yeah, he's just held on to it forever. This town seems small enough that they might still actually have a Blockbuster.
It's possible.
They don't have internet.
You got to get all your information from books.
Yeah.
That's why this bookstore was so successful.
Yeah. This dirty ass bookstore.
I want to go and talk about this brothel lodge. That's out of nowhere. Like, we don't understand why it's there. Yes. Why Lisa ever goes there. The only reason that Lisa went there is so that she can get into the same place as Nick, because Nick comes in and then takes her somewhere else.
Yeah.
Like a playground.
No, I don't even know. I guess he drove to the playground.
Yeah.
And then she ate his neck out there.
Yeah. That sounded very sexual.
No, there's a lot of sexual things about this movie for no reason. But
we do get introduced to this child that lives at the brothel lodge with her mother.
Yes. Her mother is the prostitute or whatever. Maybe she runs it. Maybe there's more girls in the back.
She's the madam. But it's just weird because, like, at the end of the movie, Lisa comes back to get this little girl. And I say little girl. She's probably, what, like 12, 13?
No, she's definitely older. She's like 16 pretending to be like 12.
Yeah.
It's like the age difference between her and her quote unquote mother it's not very big.
It didn't seem that way.
Like, it seems like they're probably only like maybe 7 years apart in age.
Oh no, I think it's more than that.
I don't
think it was
so.
Portrayed as a wider gap. But maybe that's the thing. Maybe it's supposed to be that they're close in age. But I will say this. Okay, so Lisa comes back to the brothel lodge and gets the young girl, and we get the one cinematic shot of the movie at the final shot.
Yeah.
And that's where they're inside the brothel lodge and they're looking outside into the overexposed outside. Everything inside is dark. You see the door, but the walls are black. Everything is dark except for the overexposed doorway leading into the outside, meaning it's leading out into like the mythic wilderness kind of in that aspect. It's very similar to a shot that is in The Searchers with John Wayne, which is one of my favorite movies.
Okay.
So it's a very cinematic shot, and I can almost guarantee you that's where they got that shot from.
So are you saying that the next film in this series is going to be a Western?
Yes.
Werewolf Western. It's
Yes,
like
Werewolf
that
Western.
Gallo Walkers movie with Wesley Snipes that was terrible. This is like that, but instead of vampires, they're werewolves.
I like it. I mean, we did get aliens versus cowboys, or cowboys versus aliens,
which was great.
I do want to
That's a
see
super fun
cowboys
movie.
versus werewolves.
I want to see Joe versus cowboys.
No, you don't. Please do not wish that into existence.
Escape from Cowboy Land.
Escape from the OK Corral.
Yeah, escape from Tombstone. Yeah, I definitely see that. I think that what they're trying to show in this moment, though, which we both were like, why are they doing this? They're trying to show that she won the battle and is more human than animal.
Yeah.
She's more.
Well, she's definitely a hybrid.
Yeah. She's more human than Nutsack.
Yes. All right. The final thing that I have on this movie is that I love that whenever Lisa was in her werewolf form, like she doesn't go like full werewolf, right?
Yeah, you never go full werewolf.
You never go full werewolf. But when she has the teeth in, they have to dub her dialogue because she can't speak with it. Like you can tell it's off just slightly.
Yeah. When you can also tell that those are gigantic teeth in her mouth and they change because at first it's like all the teeth and then later her middle teeth in the front are smaller.
Well, it's as she's evolving.
Oh my God, she's evolving.
She's holding back the werewolf traits and just gonna be person wolf.
It's like species. Yeah, and then I guess at the end she's just kind of werewolf just kind of hybrid all the time, but without the nutsack on her forehead.
Yeah, I think so.
Like she's just got the yellow eyes and the nails and the teeth.
Yeah,
it's a choice. That look is a choice.
I don't know that it was a choice.
No, that look is definitely a choice.
I mean, maybe. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get into ratings. Nathan, I'm very on the edge on this one. Yeah, it's because there were some boring moments.
Like most of the movie.
It took a long time to get her into like the werewolf and actually get everything going. So it kind of drug a bit.
A little bit?
I mean, there were some really, really fun parts.
Yes.
The Dana death was fun.
Yeah.
The ball gag, surprisingly, was
very
great.
funny.
Yeah, it was very funny.
Very funny.
Like, we were laughing so hard we had to pause the movie so we wouldn't miss anything.
Yes.
Because it was just, like, ridiculous, like, out of nowhere.
Yes, that was very
like,
funny.
most people would just get duct tape.
Or
and duct tape somebody's mouth shut.
Or she could just be back there not gagged at all.
Yeah. And just, like, yelling or whatever.
It was a completely unnecessary thing.
It was an unnecessary thing that was just crazy. Yes. I'm glad they put it in. Don't get me wrong.
Absolutely.
Because it was great.
It's the best part of it. It was like one of the two best parts of the movie.
Yeah. But I mean, overall, I'm sitting here thinking, like, would I watch it again? Would I recommend it to other people? I'm going to say yeah.
Really?
I'm going to give this movie a skull, surprisingly.
Okay, this is going to be a real shocker. Because this is the first time I think you have ever given a movie a skull.
Mm-hmm.
And I am not going to give a movie a skull.
All right.
There's so much about this movie. Like there were points in this movie like early on where I was just like, man, I almost looked at you and just said, hey, do you want to just pick another movie? Like there were
moments.
There were so many moments of this movie where I was like, you know what? The trailer looked really fun and the rest of this movie just looks stupid. I mean, and there's so much of this movie where I was so super bored. I was thinking about other things other than the movie. Like I legit was like, I need to write this email for work that my boss asked me to do earlier. And I'm just sitting here. I might as well. I mean, I didn't write the email. I stayed zoned in on the movie. But I will agree with you that there were moments that were worth watching again or rewinding and looking back over. But this is one and done for me. Like I didn't hate the movie, but I didn't really like it. But I always base my skulls on whether or not I would recommend somebody watch the movie, or if I would watch it again, either alone or with other people. And I don't think I would.
So you don't think that if Nick were to say, "Hey, I listened to the episode, I want to watch this movie," you wouldn't watch it with him?
That's tough though, because that's a special case though, because it's okay. Nick wants to watch the movie. I would watch it with Nick only because I think he would be really funny during the movie. I don't think that the movie would be really funny.
I think I just trapped you into giving it a skull.
No.
Yeah, because you just openly admitted on
But that's
the podcast
look,
that you
that's a
would
special-
actually watch it with somebody else.
Yeah, no, but that's a special exception.
It doesn't matter. You would still watch it again.
I don't know. I probably would play on my phone the whole time while he watched it and then shouted about things.
Yeah.
And then came up with his own conspiracy theory about what's really going on with the sheriff
It's the government.
and Dolphus. Yeah. It's the government. This is secretly a movie about Bigfoot.
Oh, what if she wasn't actually a werewolf? What if she was a Bigfoot?
She was a
Werefoot.
A werefoot. Oh, a weresquatch. I don't know. Anyway, thanks for listening, guys. If you want to get in touch with us, you can find us on Twitter and most social media at Spoop Squad. We have TikToks. Find our TikToks, like our TikToks, make us TikTok famous.
At Spoop Squad Podcast.
At Spoop Squad
Podcast.
Is it Spoop Squad Podcast?
Spoop Squad Podcast on TikTok.
Oh, on TikTok. We need to add that to the list. And you can find us at the Squad Podcast on Facebook, and our email is spoopsquad@gmail.com. Hey, Jared.
Yeah.
Did you know that love is the greatest adventure?
I do now.